Vadane. So thank you very much. Punah Milama, Namo Namaha.
No.
Okay, so Radhe Radhe, good morning, good evening, everyone. Welcome to today's edition of Daily Wisdom from Bhagavad Gita. We had a bit of a break, unintentional break, little extended break. So excited to be back, happy to be back, and hope the feeling is mutual. So let's get started. We will continue on our journey. Today we'll pick up the next shloka. And we will talk about something that can enable us to burn off our karma. Isn't it an interesting or an exciting proposition? So let's get started. I'm going to share my screen and then we will get underway. Sorry about that. Give me a sec. Are you able to see my screen? Okay. So we'll get started with our opening prayers like we always do. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurudevo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsa Chanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. Okay, so Radhe Radhe, good morning, good evening to all of you. Very warm welcome to today's edition of Daily Wisdom from Bhagavad Gita. So let's get started. We are on verse 4.37 and it is going to lead us into something very interesting that will require us multiple sessions of its own. Okay, so we'll talk about that. So I'm going to recite the shloka and then you're welcome. You can pick up a few hands who can recite afterwards. Yathe dhansi samidhognihi bhasmasat kuruterjuna jnanagni sarvakarmani bhasmasat kurute tatha. Let's take a few hands.
Okay, Shyamji, Radhe Radhe, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe, Shyamji.
Radhe Radhe. Yathe dhansi samidhognir bhasmat sat kuruterjuna jnanagni sarvakarmani bhasmasat kurute tatha. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe, very nice. Thank you, Shyamji.
Sri Ramya ji, Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe, Shri Ramya.
Radhe Radhe. Yathai dhansi samidhognir bhasmasat kuruterjuna jnanagnis sarvakarmani bhasmasat kurute tatha.
Very nice. Thank you. Okay, let's take the remaining two hands.
Radhe Radhe, Riya ji, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Yatai dhansi samidhognir bhasmasat kuruterjuna jnanagni sarvakarmani bhasmasat kurute tata. Thank
Very
you. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe, Riya ji. Last but not the least, Sandhya, go ahead.
Yathe dhansi samidhognir bhasmasat kuruterjuna jnanagnih sarvakarmani bhasmasat kurute tatha.
Very nice. Thank you. So let's get started. In this shloka, Lord Krishna is saying, as a kindled fire reduces wood to ashes, O Arjun, so does the fire of knowledge burn to ashes all reactions from material activities. So by now, I think we are pretty comfortable with the concept of reactions from the material work. Right? it's like Newton's law. Every action has an opposite and equal reaction. Now, the reaction in our case is manifested in form of karma, the law of karma, the perfect justice dispensing system that we are participating in. So every action invokes some kind of a karma. And as long as we are doing it for our sensory gratification alone or for our own interest. But when we start directing that karma for the pleasure of God or with a spirit of sacrifice, then it becomes liberating karma. Karma alone is not good enough to take us from this world towards liberation. Karma is good karma. Good karma is very good, but not good enough. Because good karma can at best take us till the celestial abodes, which is called a golden jail. So a smart spiritualist does not even care for better, higher, more luxurious living, or going to Swarglok or things like that. Their focus is towards getting out of the cycle of this life and death. And today Lord Krishna is going to tell us that the fire of knowledge, how it can burn to ashes the reactions from the material activities. Pretty interesting concept, right? So let's get started. So to start off with, happy Guru Nanak Jayanti to all of you. Now, Guru Nanak Ji, he is the first Guru for Sikhs, right? They went on to have 10 Gurus. I think Guru Granth Sahib is also considered as the 10th Guru. But Guru Nanak Dev Ji, he propagated the message of scriptures in such a simple language, which was accessible to pretty much everybody, around that era. So he did not choose Dev Vani, which is Sanskrit. He chose Lokvani, so that the message could reach out to people and masses around that time. Now let's understand, like whether it is now Guru Nanak Dev's Jayanti, so we'll take this opportunity to tackle a bigger question. We do have saints and gurus who come from time to time. Guru Nanak Dev Ji, Mahavir Ji, Buddha, for that matter. They all come with a specific purpose in mind. And when they come, their teachings are customized or tailored, which are appropriate for those times. It is said in Hindi, Desh, Kal, Patra. So the time that they have come in, then the people whom they are addressing, right? What is appropriate for that situation? It is a function of that. So they may be Nobel laureate or PhDs in spirituality, but the message that they will preach would be appropriate for the audience at that time. And Guru Nanak Dev Ji, he did a phenomenal job when he came. He actually enabled some of the esoteric and lofty principles of scriptures in a very, very simple language. And he reached out to masses with that. And so many people, have transformed their lives just following those simple teachings. In fact, he traveled all around the world, all the way up to Baghdad, even up to Mecca. And there's a beautiful story where once when he went to Mecca, he was lying down and his legs were facing the Mecca. And one of the Maulvis came and he said, what are you doing here? You should not be pointing your legs towards Mecca. And to which Guru Nanak Ji replied that, okay, all right, take my legs away, put it at a place where God is not. So he pushed his legs to another direction and the Mecca aligned to that. He pushed it to another direction, Mecca aligned to that. So the point was, there is no place where God is not. And when it comes to protecting the word of his saints and sages, God can go to any length. So Maulvi, he got the message, who Guru Nanak Dev Ji was. So similarly, we have, gurus and saints, they descend from time to time, and then they bring about a wave of transformation. So many people, even long after they have closed their pastimes, they go on to transform their lives as they do in so many traditions, right? Whether it's Guru Nanak Dev, Mahavir Ji, Buddha Ji, and all these come, and then they bring about a wave which becomes instrumental in enabling people in transforming their lives long after they have closed their pastimes as well. So happy Guru Nanak Jayanti once again to all of you. Now let's move on to our Soul Soup segment before we get into the philosophy aspect of the shloka that we are discussing. So today, as part of our success, happiness, and fulfillment series, we're going to talk about what is success in life. A pretty profound definition, right? We all want to be successful in our life, and this is success, happiness, and fulfillment series. What is success in life? One may say that it is very contextual, very subjective. Yes, that is agree. But let's see what Oxford Dictionary says about success. So Oxford Dictionary says that attainment of fame, wealth, or status. Okay, that is one of the definitions. If you go to Oxford, you will find that is referred to as success. The second definition gives is achievement of an aim or purpose. Okay, these are the two definitions you would find in Oxford Dictionary. Now let's understand this. Okay, we will going to spend maybe few sessions on this alone without getting too far. So basically, if we think about this, most of the people, they think attainment of their own becoming billionaire is the definition of successful, or owning their own limousine or private plane or personal boat or a palatial home. All these things, acquisition of things, are attributed to success. So financial prosperity is certainly one of the yardstick that is employed in present times. Now, if you inquire into the lives of super rich, you will find that reality is just the opposite. Howard Hughes, there are so many people. There was a guy called Howard Hughes. He was an American businessman. You can go check it out, right? And a film director as well. He was a prime example. He was one of the wealthiest people in the world. And yet he died in mental misery. When he died, he was in extreme misery at that time and secluding himself from society, and he was suffering from bouts of depression and paranoia. Now, people may have all the wealth in the world, but if their mind is agitated, they can never be happy. Okay, there is example of Michael Jackson. Like, just to sleep, he had to take anesthesia. That was his state towards the end of his life. There was Elvis Presley. Now we think, okay, forget about money. Fame is. Talking about fame, Elvis Presley was one of the most famous guys. Just look at some of his videos, how people would croon for him. It's like nobody can be more famous like that, right? Now he was a king of rock and roll, and he ended up committing suicide as well, right? So, and his albums, they touched 1 billion, and it is said not by suicide but by drug overdose is how he died. And he was also suffering from depression. So money, fame does not bring in happiness. Third thing is, you may talk about power. So if you're an MP, MLA, you are craving to become an MLA. If you're MLA, you are craving to become a chief minister. If you're chief minister, you're craving to become a prime minister. And if you're a prime minister, you're worried about winning the next election. So that also doesn't bring peace of mind. So there was a beautiful story of Joshua Liebman. He was an American Jewish rabbi. So he wrote a book, and I'll tell you the name of the book. So in that book, he, as a teenager, he made a list of all that he should aspire for in his life. And then he took that list to a wise person in his neighborhood. And the neighbor looked at that list and he said, "Young man, this is very carefully crafted list of all the things that you are aspiring for. But without one thing, it is all useless." And he asked, "What is this one item that you are saying is so critical?" He said, "Peace of mind." The neighbor told him, "Peace of mind. If you do not have peace, you will be miserable and unhappy, and no matter what you have, it will be useless. So what's the point of all these attainments if you don't have a peace of mind?" So we'll build on this concept. This basically goes on to, illustrate the point that these things that we think attribute, typically they do not. It's the peace of mind. And then how do we attain peace of mind is something we will map it back to the definition of success in tomorrow's discussion. For now, let's move on and get into the topic of our discussion today, which is Bhagavad Gita. But yes, keep it in the back of the mind. Ask yourself, if you have everything, but you do not have peace of mind, it's just not worth it. And if you have peace of mind, while you don't have anything else, it is worth it. Okay? So that is the true definition of success. And how do you attain peace of mind? What are some of the yardsticks you can employ? You say, so that you say, I'm materially successful in this world, and spiritually is a pretty deep concept, but at least to be successful from a material definition standpoint, tomorrow we will build on this definition. Okay, now let's get to that topic. Now, even a spark of fire, as we know, it has a potential to become a major conflagration and burn down a huge heap of combustible material. Right? With California fires, we know what happens. It can start from just a minor spark, a small accident or a spark, and it has the potential to burn down the entire forest. It can consign it to flames. Now, in 1666, the Great Fire of London, it began as only a little flame in a small bakery. Okay, it was not like a massive bomb fell on it, a big fire. It started with a very small fire in a bakery. But as it grew, it consigned to flames 13,200 houses, 87 churches, and most of the city offices. That is the potential of a small matchstick, okay, a small fire that can be lit up. I don't remember if anybody remembers they read the story when you were growing up. I think in NCRT or CBSE, both places, this was there. A spark neglected burns the house. It is by Leo Tolstoy, a very beautiful story. So it's just a spark which actually burnt down the house. That is where it started from. So if you look at it, the spark is enough to spark off a series of events. It just starts with a spark, and then a series of events start unfolding. And I'm sure a lot of you, in fact, most of you, whoever has been on this path of spirituality, all it takes is a spark, initial spark. And then you would see it just starts opening the floodgates. Okay, it's just like, seems like God or the universe is knocking at your door. But for some reason, we keep holding that message back. We don't want to open that door. And when you take the first step, it seems like the whole floodgates open up. So many questions start getting answered. Even if you're watching a TV serial, some message will come from some quarter, maybe over a news channel, or when you are going through a book, or some person will come in your life, or you meet somebody. It seems like the whole universe starts conspiring to send you that message that you are looking for. But it all starts with that initial spark. Okay, one thing leads to another, to another, to another, right? It says when you do one thing bad, then it triggers off a series of events, and it can lead to you to something bigger, right? When you speak one lie, to hide that you have to speak 1,000 other lies. Similarly, the good thing about this is when you do one good thing, like especially in the path of spirituality, when you make this a priority, it will unfold a series of events that will take you far before you realize it. And that is how it goes. A spark is good enough to spark a series of events, and the path of spirituality is a huge asset. You would realize through your experience it happens. How it happens, you can call it miracle, grace of God, or this is how it's meant to be. Maybe some of you can share your example. I'm sure each one of you would have experienced that. It's like, I don't know where I'm getting that message from. Something I wanted to know, some question is getting answered. Something is happening that is leading you to the next step on this path. It just happens. Okay. Now, let's understand the karma aspect of it, first of all. Okay. This is a pretty profound, what you call that, not profound, I should say, pretty deep ocean that we have created for ourselves. Okay, what is this karma? Let's understand this a little more in detail. So our sanchit karma is the sum of one's past karmas. Every thought, every action that we have performed, it is there. It is like written in a book somewhere. Okay, and we have taken, how many births? We don't have any count for that. Why? Because it's not that first God was there and then he created us. We have existed ever since God has existed. Like in Hindi se say, jab se Bhagwan, tab se hum. Or kab se hum, jab se tab bhi nahi tha. Okay, we have been since when, even when was not there. So technically, we are the same age as God. And that is the only thing we can challenge God in, that you are not senior to us. Now, the bad news about that is, the fact is that if that is the case, that means we have accrued infinite ocean of karmic backlog already. Okay, so this is a vast ocean, and it's just infinite. Okay, we can't really, it's unfathomable the amount of karmas we have, binding karmas that we have accrued. And in every lifetime, we keep on contributing to that ocean furthermore. Because as yet, we do not have the ability to do non-binding karmas. We might do it in bits and pieces when our mind is aligned to the will of God, or we are doing it with the spirit of sacrifice or for the pleasure of God. But other than that, most of the time we are incurring some kind of a binding karma only, whether it's a good act or a bad act. It is a binding karma only. So this ocean is replete with our karmas, backlog of karmas, plus this keeps on getting, increasing with every passing life, minute of our life or second of our life. That is how vast this ocean is. Now, what happens in our life is when we become human, like we have, believe it or not, in this life, what happens is God. So now, before I get into that, the all actions, right? So all actions, good or bad, they constitute from our past lifetime, they constitute that. So you look at it, and then there are drops within this ocean as well. So building on that, so if you look at this aprarabdha is basically portion of sanchit karma that has not been chosen for us to face them in our present life. It is still in backlog. We will eventually have to face it in future lifetimes. So if you're from IT industry, you might be comfortable with the term backlog. It is backlog. It is going to come. It's not in your current sprint. Okay. Current sprint has been chosen by God. So it's the example for like that is a thief has stolen something from the house and is running away. The police has not caught him just yet, but eventually will. It's just a matter of time before police will catch up with him. Similarly, aprarabdha is the part of our karma which has not yet been bestowed to us in any of our lifetime. It is there, it will be given to us in some point in time. Okay, but there's no escape from it. What God does is he picks up a drop from this ocean. Which drop? God only knows. Which is called prarabdha in this lifetime. So he will pick up, okay, now you're going to come back as human. You have done a lot of good deeds, or maybe cyclically the time has come because you've gone through all the cycle of 8.4 million tourism, as we say. And now he'll pick up a drop and say, okay, now you're a human. I'll give this particular drop from the vast ocean of our past karma. Okay, this is how it works. Which drop he picks, why he picks that drop, only God knows. But we can be rest assured whatever drop is picked up by him is for our best, for our benefit only, so that we can come out better and stronger facing that prarabdha and utilizing it for the benefit of our spiritual growth. Okay, that is the hope. So this is called prarabdha. And then there is something called bija as well. Okay, the tendencies that are stored there. These are the desires to do bad thing again and again. We have done something wrong and we have desire to do it again. So this is like this seed. You deprive this seed from a fertilizer, sunlight, air, water, it will remain a dormant seed. But seed is still there. The moment you give it fertilizer, the moment it gets conducive environment, it will start sprouting. So the example for that is like thief is in prison, and even before he's gotten out of the prison, he's still yearning to do the stealing. Okay, this time when I'll get out, I'll make sure I do a perfect robbery like Ocean's 11, or like they did it in that movie, right? I don't know which movie that was. The perfect robbery, even police could not catch them. So where is that tendency coming from? Even though they are already in the jail and they are undergoing, the imprisonment because of the bad deed or the stealing that this thief did, but still that tendency is there. Okay, they are planning and plotting around it. That is called bija because it is still not addressed. Seed is still there. Okay, we also have seeds of so many things. Sometimes your mind can surprise you. You don't know this tendency is there in you, but when the situation or the opportunity presents itself, you say, oh my God, why did I behave like this? Why did I think like this? Why did I do like this? So we don't know what kind of bijas we have accrued in our mind from so many past lifetimes. Okay, so those bijas are there as well. And then there is something called kuta as well. This is the proclivity or inclination of doing things even when we haven't experienced anything in this birth. That happens as well, right? For example, there's a man who doesn't have eyes but hasn't seen a woman, but they can understand that they are different, and there is desire, the latent desire out there, even without experiencing a woman in this life, right? So nobody has told them in this lifetime, but it comes from the experience from previous lifetimes. Similarly, when we have done some sins in the past lifetime, we have developed certain inclinations and they will stay with us. So every thought, we may think anything that we think is innocuous, right? It was just a thought. Fine, it could just be a thought as long as we understand the mindfulness technique where we say, I'm not going to surf it, I'm not going to energize it, I'm not going to activate it any further than this immediate thought that came, cut it down. Yes, Sandhya, you had a question?
I think I've asked this earlier as well, but does it necessarily have to be a bad thing, kuta, or can it be a good thing?
A good thing as well. Kuta means some kind of a tendency or a proclivity, so it is that doesn't have to be necessarily a good thing. Some people have compassionate, right? That is also kuta. But that compassion has to be turned from material compassion to spiritual compassion. That would come from but yeah, kuta is essentially a tendency, and tendency could be good or bad.
Thank you.
Okay, so yeah, good question. So now, what was I saying? And why was I saying? What was I saying? Okay. Yeah, so these are tendencies. So I was saying the thought. Swamiji has written a beautiful book, Power of Thought. So if you haven't read it, do get a copy for yourself, Kindle or otherwise. So it talks about each thought that we bring to our mind. Thought by thought, we are actually forging our destiny. So every thought, it leaves some kind of an impression on our mind. It's like you put some stamp on a paper. Now the stamp could lead an indelible impression or a light impression. Really depends on how forcefully you have stamped it. Similarly, when we think about things and keep on energizing it, especially negative thoughts or lower energies, cater to lower energies, it can become our bija or kuta. So you've got to be very careful about it. So it's like creating a homework for yourself that you'll have to struggle with later on. And we used to do our holidays homework in school. So how relieving it used to be when the homework was about on the brink of getting completed and stuff like that. It's like, oh my God, now I'm free. So here it's something similar. Now, if we are falling into the trap of thinking negatively about others or getting upset, getting angry, envious, all those lower energies, then we are actually making it difficult for ourselves in the lifetimes to come or in this life, later part of our life as well, because all these are like digging a pit for yourself that you only have to climb over, because these become struggle points for us beyond a point. Why do people get into depression? It's because they have negative thought process to begin with. It could be chemical aspect as well, but then it all starts with the thoughts and stuff like that, right? In one of their lifetimes, you don't never know what might have triggered a chain of reactions leading up to that stage. So we got to be very careful about the kind of thoughts we bring to our mind, because right now our mind is not under our control. When we have made it a fertile mind, then it will not generate any non-beneficial or harmful thoughts for us. But until that point, we got to be very careful about it, because it's not only detrimental for us at the present moment in our present life, but it could be even more treacherous for us in the lifetimes to come, because we are leaving certain impressions, and this mind, there's no escape from it. Once we go away from this life, the mind is not going away anywhere. The same mind will accompany you lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. So the quality of mind, as we keep on improving, it's for our benefit only. And spirituality is all about cleaning your mind. Now let's look at this visual. This might help. Okay. So here's a jar full of cotton balls. It's not an ordinary jar. Okay. This is the jar of that ocean that we spoke about. Just imagine you can put a light match to it. Just small light match and boom, it goes away. How nice it would be. So this is our backlog of karmas. This is burning in one shot. Just think of that vast ocean. In one shot, you can evaporate it. How nice would that be? It's nice, right? And that's what Lord Krishna is talking about. Who will burn it? Lord himself will burn it. Okay. Krishna is assuring Arjun that knowledge has the power to burn our heaps of karma in this lifetime itself. You don't need a lot of stuff. You just need one matchstick and boom, it can be burnt off. Now, knowledge how? When When will happen when knowledge of the soul and its relationship with God is understood well? So why do we invest time in spirituality or reading Bhagavad Gita or going through the scriptures or listening to inspiring videos? So that the knowledge becomes pakka or it fructifies in our mind. And the true knowledge would actually lead to understanding our relationship with God, right? Our soul is an eternal servant of God. Not servant is not a derogatory term here, okay? Like we have it in the material world. It's an actually privilege. When you serve God, God serves you back, okay? Think it that way. You will get everything that you need by serving. When you give, you should automatically receive. It's like when hand feeds the stomach, stomach will automatically provide back to the hand what it needs. So the true knowledge of the soul would lead you to understand your relationship with God. And when you understand the relationship with God, and when you understand God, love would also be a natural consequence of it. So loving God is where the buck stops, okay? And knowledge should lead to love, basically. And then that would eventually lead you to surrender. When we surrender to God, He burns our stockpile of endless lifetimes of karmas and releases us from the material bondage. The day you surrender, immediately the matchstick is set on your cotton balls from all the past lifetimes and everything is burnt off. Okay, this is how this process goes. Now you may ask, what is surrender? So I can do a session on surrender alone. It will take 2 or 3 sessions. Okay, what is surrender? What are the principles of surrender? And it will be a very fascinating discussion. But this is how this process works. Now think of it, such a big mercy it is. Now Krishna in Bhagavad Gita 18.6 is 6.6, he's saying, Aham, he says, Sarv dharmam parityajya mam ekam sharanam braj. Just surrender unto me. And then he says, Aham tuam sarve papabhyo mokshasi mashicha. That I'm going to burn off the stockpile of all your past karmas, because even Krishna knows that, God knows that if he leaves it up to us, it's a mission impossible we are on. Right? Think of it, like let's say we perfect Karma Yoga in this life, or we perfect everything in this life. How many lifetimes would it take us to exhaust an ocean? It's like, we drink cold drink from a straw, and just imagine that straw would enable you to take only 1 drop at a time, not even a full sip, and then you have to empty that ocean. Such a big deal it would be. So Krishna knows that. He said, no, it's fine. I'll make it easy for you. You perfect your surrender, I'll burn it off for you. Okay, very simple. Okay, any questions on what we have discussed? It's a pretty interesting topic. Yes, Tarunji.
Radhe Radhe Tarunji, please go ahead.
Radhe Radhe, Nitinji.
Radhe Radhe.
So my question is that as we have understood that Manushya Yoni is the only Karma Yoni, rest all are the Bhog Yoni.
That's right.
So in that sense, the whole ocean of Sanchit Karma which we talk about, the only karma done in the human form would have added to that sack of karma.
Very true.
Rest. So if we have got earlier human form, either that would have contributed to Sanchit Karma, or in this human form, we would have added to Sanchit Karma. Rest all, since there is no free will, there is no binding action. So that means only the human form, we either make new karma or we burn the karma, rest all. So first I wanted to clear that understanding.
Right. So if a dog bites a man, that's perfectly right. But if a man bites a dog, it can become a news, right? But so let me put it that way. If a tiger eats a man, it's perfectly okay. Even if he's a man, he's not meant to do that. It's not, God is not going to log it as a karma that, hey, tiger, you ate human, that was not good. You should have eaten only the goat or whatever. It is perfectly okay. They are affected. They have to cater to their hunger. They have to defend themselves. But if a man eats a tiger, then it will be logged as a sin. So this is how it goes. And only in human birth can we make withdrawals as well as deposits. In other humans, we can only make withdrawals.
Yeah. So in that way, if we don't get human birth, say next, and then whatever is the sack, it is going to be emptied in some time. Maybe take not.
It will not be emptied. It's like it's like a vast ocean. So if you, let's say, we become a pig or an ant, maybe a minuscule part of it is will be burnt. Okay, but you
Mm.
have to do purusharth, and only in human life you can attain God. It's not like I'm going to become pig for the rest of eternity and then I will realize God because I'm going to burn it off. Only in human life
Mhm.
can you realize God. No other life. Okay,
Okay.
because you have to
Okay.
utilize your free will to achieve God. Okay, not script.
Uh-huh.
Animals are scripted.
Mhm. True. And one last point, the way we do action only in human form or the binding action, similarly, the tendencies of the sanskar which we talk, they also add in only human form, not in other forms.
True, that
The
is
new
true.
sanskar.
Yeah, the
Okay.
rabbit will not have a sense of humor and start tickling another
Hmm.
just to have fun
Mhm.
from another animal,
Mhm.
right? They don't do that. They are scripted. They just follow the script
Mhm.
that they are endowed with, which basically means eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. These four activities they will do, and without fail, and no karma whatsoever. But the problem, irony of human life is they also end up doing this only. When they don't make spirituality their priority, they also end up doing eating, meeting, sleeping, and defending these four activities. And that's why God says, why don't you go back to, where what you have been doing throughout this life? So it is said that human life is very rare and very precious. It can take crores of kalpas to get that human life. And we know one kalpa, how big it is. So it's a serious business beyond a point if you think about it. It's not a straightforward thing, but yeah, I mean, we never know. God may choose to put us back to back human life or pretty frequent. I don't know about that. Nobody has that algorithm. In fact, I'd asked this question to Swamiji: how can we ensure that we have back to back human life? And he said he had also asked this to Maharajji, and Maharajji had replied that if you have spent more than 50% of your life in spiritual topic, basically a pursuit of spirituality, then there is a good business case for you to become human back to back. Otherwise there's no guarantee.
Good. Somehow. Thank you.
Well, I can give you an arithmetic of how much human life do we typically have to realize God. Okay, if you live for 100 years, typically you have 10 to 12 years, not more than that. Okay, and that too if you have started right from when you were 1 year old. Now 30-40 years are past, just by doing things and working and holding on to an unworthiness, and then standing in long queues and all that
Mhm.
stuff. So effectively, if you think about it, from this point onwards, you would effectively have not more than, I would say, 2 to 3 years to realize God, effective time. And I can work out that math for you. I've done it for myself. It's not
Okay.
2 to 3 years, then maybe five. If your whole day you're spending doing something related to God, not more than that. If you take about your sleep and your travel time and your phone time and your other time, you start minusing that. It's not a very encouraging picture how much time we truly have in human life.
Thank you very much, Radha Radhe.
Thank you, Arunji. Good questions. I see Ipsita ji today. Yes, Ipsita ji, you wanted to ask something?
Radhe Radhe, Ipsita.
आना है तुम्हें?
Radhe Radhe, Radhe Radhe. I don't want to ask. Just you said a few minutes back that if you want me to do any program on surrendering, then you will do some session. So it's a kind request.
Yes,
If you
so
please.
tomorrow we will start with surrender. That's a good thing. Maybe it will be a
Yeah.
segue into surrender. I will start that because this topic
Yes,
is
yes.
very important for the benefit of participants who've been joining. We keep on talking about surrender. Keep on talking about grace. So we'll cover that over the next few sessions. That way we get it,
Okay.
but we'll utilize the current shlokas so that we keep making progress as well as get into these foundational concepts a little more deeper and have a common understanding around it.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, and there are a few more people in the chat like Madhuji and Sushila ji who are also saying, I am with it. Please get started with surrender topic.
So
And
surrender is like, so first of all, what surrender is not, I'll give you a teaser on that, and then what surrender is, we'll talk about it, right? So if you're walking on the street and a goon comes in with a pistol and he says, hands up, is that surrender? Yes or no? We'll talk about it tomorrow. Okay. So yes, Sandhya, go ahead.
And there are a few questions in the chat. So Payal ji is asking, But I heard once Swamiji said mind is gross in nature. Then how can we take that with us lifetime after lifetimes? How can it remain the same? I might be wrong. Sorry about such silly questions.
Man maya te bana, very true. So the subtle body goes with us. So if we go to the anatomy of our body, right? So there are gross elements and there are subtle elements. So our mind resides in its subtle form as well. So don't consider mind as the brain. It actually goes along with us in our afterlife journey. So subtle mind we carry with ourselves, right? When we are sleeping, our senses are not awake. Our eyes are closed, but still we can see, still we can touch, still we can feel. How is it happening? Because the mind is basically the senses, they reside in subtle form in your mind, and mind is not brain. And that subtle body accompanies us along with our soul in the next lifetime as well. And it does not change. You will be born with the same tendencies in next lifetime as well. And when do those tendencies manifest? God dictates that. Typically, for the first 5 years, when the kids are there, they are dictated by their previous, sanskars and stuff. And then this impressions of this lifetime starts falling on them, but their basic nature or the sanskars that they have carried from the previous lifetime remains there until they start mindfully working on it. And that requires spiritual understanding or spiritual awakening. But our mind is our permanent accomplice, like God. It doesn't leave us. So our
Okay.
changes are here. Yeah.
There's a comment from Prabhat Bhaiya. None of us is going to become anything less than human anymore as we are introduced to Radha Nam Mahima.
Fingers crossed, that's true. But we cannot be complacent about it. Let's pray to God that happens so that we can continue with our journey and hopefully complete it as well. So yes, devotion certainly helps, but yeah, God only knows. We can't demand it basically. We can only hope and pray. So
And there's one more comment. Only way to remove all the karmas is complete surrender to God, nothing else, I believe.
and surrender is a very deep concept, very, very deep concept. See, surrender is actually a state of doing nothing, where you're doing nothing. But for you to do nothing, you have to do a lot of things leading up to doing nothing. See, surrender is a state where you become like a baby. You've seen baby, young little ones. Do they have to do anything? They don't have to do anything. Their mom takes care of doing everything for them. They just have to cry. But to reach that stage, it takes a lot. Right now, we have so many ashrays in our mind, so many what you call that dependencies we have in our mind that we have built. We are betting in the world, on our relatives, friends, family, on our own selves, on our own abilities, on our bank balance, whatever it might be. That conditioning, in order to reverse that, it will take a lot of effort. But with God's grace and with the right knowledge and with Guru's grace, Guru's help, it is pretty much achievable. Once we put our mind to it, and that's a hope. By contemplating this knowledge repeatedly and with the grace of God and Guru, we'll be able to close in on that surrender and make giant progress towards it in this life itself. Yes, Sandhya.
Regarding this statement on dependency, I came across these two lines today I wanted to share. भरोसा किसी पर भी कर लो, लेकिन भरोसे केवल ईश्वर के ही होना.
भरोसा किसी पर भरोसे. That's an interesting one. Now, can you please translate it in English to Michelle as well?
Yes, you can trust anyone, but be dependent only on the Lord. And I would add Guru. So, yeah.
Yeah. That's the key concept. It takes a lot to get to that stage, right? And we are not, it doesn't come naturally to us because of our conditioned state, but that's the whole idea. So we'll talk about this topic in detail. Any other questions related to what we have spoken about today?
Falguni ji is sharing, sorry.
So I said, isn't it such a huge mercy of God that he's actually telling us that he's going to burn off our stockpile of karmas. It's such a relief. Otherwise, you can imagine how difficult this game would have been, right? So he's taken the ownership of burning it off for us. You just perfect your surrender. And when he's saying perfect your surrender, all he's asking for is just be dependent on me. I'm more than happy to take on your burden. And we say, no, 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 we want to take on our own burden, okay, because we don't trust you. It's like, God is what do you call that? There was a guy who was hanging from a hill, barely hanging onto a hill and facing a deep cliff. And he said, Siya Ramji, I used to visit your temple. It's about time to save me. So he said, Ramji, are you there? So Ramji replies, Lord Ram replies from below. He said, I am here. Just hold on. Just let go of the bush that you're hanging onto, and I'm here to catch you. So this guy was zapped. He said, Lord Ram replied. He said, anybody other than Lord Ramji here who can help me? So we don't have belief, basically, that God is willing to help us. So the point here is that God says, you let go of the bush, I'm willing to catch you. We say, first you catch me, then I'll let go of the bush. And that competition continues. So Maharaj has a very beautiful lecture series where he says, Ab to tum hi maan lo haar. That you let go of it, I'll catch you. You have to basically let go of it, and then God is willing to catch you. But we say, you first catch us, and then we will let go of it, right? The same argument that the soul has with God, that you first grace me, then I will complete my surrender. And God says, you first surrender, then I'll grace you. And then who has to blink first? You only have to blink first. Okay. So we'll talk about this topic in more detail when we get into the deeper fundamentals around the surrender and the grace aspect of it starting tomorrow. Okay, any more questions? So, sorry, you were saying something about Falguni. Ji had a question or?
Not a question, but she's sharing her experience of meeting Swamiji for the first time. So Falguni ji met Swamiji in Mumbai recently, along with others, including the little Arya. Okay, Falguni ji is saying, I had the good fortune to meet Swamiji in Mumbai for the first time. It was such a serene, calming experience. Very grateful, Nitin ji. Thank you.
Very nice. I'm glad you were able to meet Swamiji. That's an experience in itself. And a lot of people were able to meet him in Delhi, Gurgaon, and then Bombay right now. And I'm sure at Banara Shivar as well. I thought I saw a new face here. Akarsh, I saw it. He's my wife's cousin. So Akarsh, good you were able to meet Swamiji as well. So good to see you, although briefly. But yes, please do meet him if you haven't so far. And then
Yes,
to visit
that brings me to the announcements. Should I make them, Nitin ji?
Please go ahead.
So yes, as we are talking about meeting with Swamiji, Swamiji is on his India tour right now. And next he will be, actually today he is in Vapi, Gujarat. So today and tomorrow, that's where he is. I think yesterday and today. And then Vadodara, Patan, Ahmedabad, so different places in Gujarat itself. Then Kolkata, Indore, Hyderabad. So I have posted the dates and the link in the chat. So please check that out. And here in Dallas, we have the exciting TV event coming up. In Nitinji has given this short form for Tulsi Vivah TV. So yes, Tulsi Vivah, it's a 2-day ceremony on 1st and 2nd of December. It will be broadcasted online, so all of you can attend it. So do make sure that you do not miss out on this auspicious wedding of Lord Krishna and Tulsi Maiya. The details are shared in the chat again. And then next there is Shivir in December, the most popular Bandra Shivir, which is the annual Shivir at the JK University campus in the last week of December. And the topic of lectures this time is going to be Ram Katha. So again, not to be missed, people can attend it both online and offline. And last but not the least, another Shivir lined up, which is in January in Tirupati. Details are there in the chat. That's
Yes.
it. And feedback tracker.
Feedback
Yes.
tracker, please do fill it up if you have any questions. And also how Bhagavad Gita has changed your life. I've gotten a few, Shri Ramya and few people who have expressed their interest. So we would start with that series. If you want to come, please write it down on the feedback tracker, and we would start that series sometime starting next week, leading up to the
Gita Jayanti.
So please take out that opportunity. Think about it. I'm sure something would have resonated, something would have started making difference in your life. Talk about it. Doesn't have to be too long. 5 minutes, that will be good enough to inspire people. And I think we owe it to Lord Krishna for all the wonderful knowledge that he has given us to reaffirm it back to him that, you know what you said, we have understood this, and this is what we are trying to implement, and it is truly helping. So we can always talk about that. Yes, Monica ji. So, are you excited about the upcoming dance on Tulsi Viva? Whoever is here, whoever is the Bharati, the dance will always be led by Monica ji and team. So,
it's actually it's the whole team, Nitinji. In fact, I'm so glad that a lot of people are coming forward and they're suggesting themselves that we should do this dance and whatever, right? So, well, everything happens whenever he needs whatever to happen, and it happens, right? Right. So for the Bhagavad Gita Jayanti, do we have to fill in the feedback tracker, or I mean just
yeah,
the
that
consent that's out there?
plan it out so that we can say a couple of people can come on this day, that way we can schedule it. At least if I have the list of the people, I would
Okay.
encourage everybody to come. I mean, it would be a great way to come, because and also I think the way it will help you is when you will reflect on what has helped you, you will come, you may surprise yourselves to say, these were so many things that have happened, that we have been listening to, and it might help actually to reinforce some of the learnings that we have. So please do take this opportunity, I would say.
Sure. So the feedback tracker, right? Okay.
Yes, yeah. Please
Sure.
fill in the feedback tracker to share your transformation experience around Bhagavad Gita.
Yes, that will be amazing. Any other thing, or we are good for today? Any other
Manisha Bharti ji has just shared something. Can I read it quickly?
Sure.
It's so true. I know nothing. The more knowledge I'm getting about this journey, it becomes more scary for me at times. So only way is to surrender. And in surrendering, I don't want to do mistake. So want to know about the complete surrender.
Talk about foolproof, mistakeless surrender then, okay? It's a tough ask, Manisha ji. So you should not be scared. First of all, you are now on the path of devotion. You have become a billi ka bacha. So when you're on a path of devotion, like in path of devotion, the billi ka bacha means Marjar Kishore ne aaye, when the mother walks from point A to point B, she makes sure that she's carrying the kid along with it. Unlike Bandar ka bacha, right, where the onus of holding on to the mother is on the kid itself. So you are on a path where you're relying on grace. You're leaving it to God. So God will make sure that He's holding on to you. He'll also do the course correction for you. He'll also protect you. He'll also keep you inspired. He'll also give you a good company. He'll also give you opportunity. So everything to gain for. So no reason, no need to be scared about anything. Surrender is a journey. It's not a unit step function. We will all get better at it. Okay, so that is a fact. That will happen for sure if you keep on contemplating on this knowledge. You keep on, taking on the fundamentals that we talk about here. There's no reason to be scared about anything at all.
Wonderful.
Okay.
So do we move on to the next segment?
What is the next segment? Is it a joke or something?
Devotional segment. You can say a joke if you want to. Everybody will like it only.
Yeah, so there was a product basically, not a product. So there's a lady who was selling a unique product. So basically, we got to be careful about, even on the path of spirituality, the products that are being sold. What do we stand to gain out of it? Okay, does it really serve the purpose for which it was bought for, or what your goal was, right? So in that sense, there was a lady who was selling a product, unique product. I was saying, if you get this product, you will not grow old. And secondly, you will not grow old, and then no dog will come near you, and nobody will come to your house to steal anything. All three things will happen. People said, wow, what a magical product, right? Let's get it. So the product was, finally, he said, all right, give it to me. So the product was Said, give me some, she charged some good amount of fee because it's a very priceless thing. If it can do these three things, it can kill 3 birds in one stone. Said, give me $500. So $500, she gave this much of tambaku. Said, tambaku, what kind of a thing it is? He said, yeah, you have tambaku. You will die before you will become old, right? You will die young. But even before you die, right, you will be coughing badly at night. So no thief would dare to come near your house. And because when you cough, you'll need a support of sticks. Even dogs will be wary of you, right? So it is serving the purpose, but not the right purpose for which you really thought it would, right? So we got to be careful about the products that we subscribe to these days, including knowledge in that sense. Okay, the joke is over. What is the next section now?
If you wish, finally devotional segment.
Okay. Yes, Falguni ji.
Radhe Radhe Falguni ji.
Can I just ask one small question, Nitinji?
Sure.
Yeah, see, like we said that our relation, the soul's relationship with God, right? Like we have to understand that, but we are so much identified with our body that it is very difficult for us to realize. I mean, at least for a
Right.
person like me, very difficult to realize that we are souls. So
True.
this realization that I am a soul, will it come all of a sudden, or will it come like little by little?
It will come
Like drop,
little by little. So there are two ways, Falgunichi, where you can come to that realization. One is through negation, that negation like they do on the path of Gyan, that I'm not this mind, I'm not this body, I'm not this intellect. You keep on negating. So the contemplation is you understand, we have a witness consciousness. Okay, I'm not this. I can observe my mind, I can observe this body. And the meditation is also around that. You continue to do that. To come to this knowledge is firmly grounded in your intellect, and that becomes your realization. So that is the path. One is through elimination. Second is no elimination. You awaken the true nature of the soul. That is the path of bhakti that we are on. You awaken the nature of soul, which is to serve. Right? When we talk about, or which is to bhaj, serve God, or to love God. So when you awaken those sentiments, then your true nature will shine forth automatically. So there are two ways to do that.
Two ways. Okay.
Marg is negation. Bhakti marg is to awaken the nature of soul itself, where you come to that realization that I'm soul and not this body. So what we are on is that path of bhakti, where we focus on loving God, we focus on serving God, and we focus on approaching it that way. And it's a more beautiful, more exciting path, I would say, because the other path can become a little needless. And even then, you would have to rely on God's grace towards the end. So here, ground up, you are relying on God's grace.
Okay. Thank you, Nitinji.
It's a journey, Falguniji. It's not a unit step function that's going to happen overnight. And we are all on this journey. So it will happen in due course of time. And the good thing is we have taken the first big step, right? Listening to what Lord Krishna is telling us, right? He created this manual for us. And we have been kind enough to Lord Krishna to actually read it and contemplate upon it on a regular basis.
Nitinji, the thing is that sometimes you read something and you come across certain, like you think, oh, like I was sitting in meditation, someone says, and then like bam, I realized that I am. So that is why I was reading such things, and I was thinking, okay, oh, does it come like in a flash, like, or that is like I was a little confused. Anyway, thank you so much, Nitinji.
No worries. If it comes, it will be permanent. It's not like it comes and goes then. Knowledge, once you are enlightened, That's right. It's not going to go back after that. So it will be a permanent realization. Yes, you may experience spurts of it in between here and there, but then that's part of the journey. It's not that you have already reached enlightenment, because once it comes, it will be permanent. That feeling, that realization, that knowledge will always persist with you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Falguniji. So with that, let's
Thank you, Nitinji.
Thank you so much. So let's move to our devotional segment. Maybe we can have a few chantings to wrap up the session. I think Sandhya, you had given your name, so go ahead. We couldn't do it last time. And maybe we can take a couple of hands. Otherwise, I can do a little bit of chant and then we'll wrap it up.
All right. So this is a bhajan I recently heard on JKU Radio. And in fact, this is one bhajan series that Maharaj Ji wrote towards the later stages, like around 2010, 11 or something. So very latest coming from Maharaj Ji. So and I really loved it. So I'll just try to sing this. सुमिरन कर ले मना, छिन छिन राधा रमना, हरि गुरु दोई अपना, गहु इनके ही शरणा, यह जग नहीं अपना, जाना है घर सजना, सारा जग नाता सपना, संग जाय हरि भजना, सुमिरन कर ले मना, छिन छिन राधा रमना, जग में न कोई अपना, एक दिन होगा तजना, जोरी जोरी धरी क्यों धना, तन भी न साथी अपना, जग तो है माया का बना, एक हरि ही है अपना, जग को ना मानो अपना, जग व्यापी हरि अपना, सुमिरन 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 कर ले मना, छिन छिन राधा रमना, दे आंसू मूल्य मना, ले पिय प्रेम धना, मैं का तनु माया का बना, मैं तो हरि का है अपना, शिशु बनी रो रो मना, प्रेम मांगना है साधना, बाहर ढूंढे क्यों मना, उर में है तेरा सजना, हरि तो कृपालु अपना, यह हरि श्रुति वचना, सुमिरन कर ले मना, छिन छिन राधा रमना, छिन छिन राधा रमना. Yeah, done.
Good, Sandhya. Very nice. Very relevant to what we were discussing today as well, right? All that matters at the end of the journey is how much spiritual wealth we have acquired, right? And if our mind is fixed in God, or the lotus feet of God that this bhajan was saying, that's the best gift we can give to ourselves as well. So thank you so much for that. So let me recite a couple of lines. Anybody else who's there? Maybe one more I can do and then we can wrap it up. Which one should I? Let me check. Anybody else there in between? Okay, let me do that. मोहन तेरे चरणों की जो धूल ही मिल जाए, मोहन तेरे चरणों की जो धूल ही मिल जाए, सच कहता हूँ मेरी तकदीर बदल जाए, सच कहता हूँ मेरी तकदीर बदल जाए, मोहन तेरे चरणों की सुनता हूँ कृपा तेरी, दिन रात बरसती है, सुनता हूँ कृपा तेरी, दिन रात बरसती है, एक बूंद जो मिल जाए, एक बूंद जो मिल जाए, मन की कली खिल जाए, मोहन तेरे चरणों की। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे, हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, मोहन तेरे चरणों की जो धूल ही मिल जाए। Thank you, everyone. Thank you again for your enthusiastic participation and for your enthusiastic engagement as well. So I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. We will continue on this shloka and also bring in the concepts of surrender, grace, and all the things you always wanted to know about these concepts. So thank you. Radhe Radhe. Good night. Good day from my side. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow, and do sign up for the Bhagavad Gita Jayanti related message.
Please
So
do sign up for it.
fill in the feedback tracker. See you all tomorrow. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe. Thank you.